super.
It's being sent to a third party. So what
Yeah,
I gotta do? Hit okay?
that's YouTube. Yeah,
Okay.
it starts picking up from like way. Okay, I think it's
Okay.
finally. I gotta take my volume down. Okay, so we are live. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, good.
Are you asking the public or are you asking?
Right, we can hear each other. Okay, so what I usually do is just wait a little while. Let me get somebody in the chat so that I can at least just kind of do a check to make sure that we're good. So give me a sec. And in the meantime, you can think about which angle you want to come at it with your story, right? With your love story. And you remember we talked about love. Love is just like um so true and so wide. So I don't want you to feel conf like don't feel like you have to conform to talking about love in a certain way. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Just when you think about love, what comes to your mind? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? And I'm saying this, but you absolutely could talk about you could talk about it however you want. But the main thing is when people watch this when people watch this live, right? We want them to be able to feel inspired by our real life stories,
Okay.
and however it is that love has shown up in our life to be able to encourage us out of maybe a dark spot or whatever it is that we may have gone through. And even if it's not encouraging out of a dark spot, like how is love showing up, in your life? Any way you want to talk about love. Because we never know what somebody needs to hear, you know?
Okay.
So
So
you
now,
just have to, right now, you just got to trust and believe and know that this is divine timing. Oh my goodness.
so now you put all the
Divine
pressure
timing.
that when you said, "Oh, it's to make someone feel inspired." So
I
now,
know, right?
like, okay,
Forget that.
no, it's all good. I mean, I'll just share. I'll just share. Okay.
Let me
So
make
my,
sure I put you on the screen good, though. I think I'm going to, just before you start, I want to make sure, because I know sometimes when I talk, it goes between you and I. So
oh,
let
okay.
me just do it where I pin you. Because we want to make sure. Make sure that I got you pinned. Okay, I think we're both on here now, right?
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm just looking at us right here, so I don't have
Okay.
the YouTube
There's
open.
usually a little delay in the YouTube, um, like I guess the feed between our Zoom chat and then when it actually gets to YouTube. So just give me 1 second and then I'll be able to tell you if we if the screen is being shared. But if not, it's okay. I just don't want to have myself pinned
Oh,
the
okay.
whole time. I'd rather be pinned. I'd rather be pinned to you, right? People see me all the time on here. It's okay.
Well, I feel the same
You.
way. Like, you know, it's funny to be on this side of the interview process, right? Like, I'm so used to giving interviews as opposed to being interviewed, so it's interesting.
Yeah, because you're always on the other side.
Yeah.
Um, well, earlier today, I got to experience being, you know, on the other side of this conversation. It was pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to see how your viewers, take to our conversation and get that feedback.
Absolutely. I think they'll enjoy it.
Okay, I know that it's here. I just can't see the chat. I just can't see the chat. I can see that people are viewing it, but I don't know why the chat is not open for me to be able to see it. Yeah, but like we were saying, there's just a whole bunch of weird stuff happening. So let's just let's just go on with the show. I'm gonna ask you some really hard questions just so that
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
You're so cool. You're like, okay, I'm just kidding.
Oh, no, no, I'm good. I kind of
There's
prefer
no hard
like
question. There's no hard question, you know?
not really. No. As long as like I prefer questions because that way at least I can answer you as opposed to me just
Yeah,
wanting trying to go through my brain and think of what stories to share, right? So
yeah. Okay, okay, I got you. Don't worry. I'm so excited. Some people I know you're supposed to be on the last time, and then well, I don't remember what happened. Oh, you had work. Work was
yeah,
calling. The job
yeah,
was
yeah.
calling. And then people have been asking me, like, when are you going to get Omar on? When is Omar going to be on? They're like interested to hear your story and to hear what you're going to share. So when I shared that, yeah, people are saying that they're on, I'm getting messages. They're like, we're on,
Okay.
and they're in the chat. So definitely, let me see. Hold on one second. Okay. Yeah, I just don't know why I can't. You know what? Let me try one more thing. And if this doesn't work, then it doesn't matter. We're just gonna proceed. I just know that when people are asking questions, you know, when people are asking questions for you, okay. So let me mute this. I think I got it. Hey, okay, good. Okay, cool.
You get
So
it?
the screen is not, I could see from here, the screen is not, it's going back and forth between you and I,
Mm.
but it's okay. I'll try to not say too much so that it stays mostly on you.
You
But
can't
yeah,
click on the share or it's fine.
yeah,
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
I pinned you, I pinned, yeah, you're pinned.
Okay.
No, no, yeah, you're pinned, but for whatever reason, when we're talking, it just goes between my voice and whoever's talking. So that's okay.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good. I'm just checking in. Listen, like you said, it's retrograde, so all sorts of things. As soon as I was done the interview with you, I came out, I got a call, whatever the case is, and then my Wi-Fi just totally went out.
Wow.
And yeah, I've been trying to like figure it out. So I think I don't even know. I think I'm hotspotting from my laptop right now because I'm not the most savvy person when it comes to computers and all of that stuff. But okay, okay, they said sound is good. And so now we're here.
Okay.
Ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
As ready as you'll ever be, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Omar, you are my wonderful guest today on Love Story. You're going to share with us anything and everything you want to share about love, about the healing power of love, the rescuing power of love, the there's so much to say about love, the transformative power of love, right? Anything you want to share about your life is a love story. So I don't want you to be, like I said, confined to whatever we may think a love story should be about. Your life is a love story. You have breath, you're living, your very essence, your being is a love story being played out in front of all of our eyes. So I want you to just be free. And like I said, whoever is supposed to watch this live, whoever is supposed to get something from it, they'll be guided to come in here, click specifically on your on your image and listen to your story.
Mm,
So I want you to start off with just telling us a little bit about who is Omar? Who is this person here today that's going to share their story? When you think about exactly that, who am I want you to start off like that. Like, who are you? Tell us who you are, and then I'll ask you some questions after that.
okay. Well, I'm kind of well, I guess I'm an experiencer of life, right? Like I've never been one to be put in a box. So I'm
Hmm.
definitely one of those people, like even that if someone said like, "Oh, you can't do that," okay, it's like, well, I don't drink, but it'd be like, hold my beer, like that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like I am definitely someone that has experienced life and continue to do so and continue to learn from it. So I mean, but in a human sense, right? I've made music forever, right? Like I've written over 1,000 songs, released
And you're
27
not kidding
albums.
when you say that, like
Yeah, yeah,
literally.
not, yeah, yeah. And independent, which was beautiful. That was part of my journey to be able to do that. Um, for the last 9 years, I got into acting, so I'm able to do a lot of creative things, right? And I'm happy for that. But before that, everything, right? I've had jobs, like the same, right? How like jobs that I've considered like miserable or this and that. Like I've lived life, right? I've had the same gripes as everybody else, but that I guess since we're talking about love, I've been able to experience what it is to be in love with this experience of life, right? So I mean,
Mm.
yeah, we could sum it up there. That's my whole love story. Like I know what it is to be in love with life, right? To be
I like that.
the ups and downs, the most tragic situations to the most beautiful situations. I know what that is. And that's what makes the love even more meaningful, right?
Yes, even more. So when you say you've written over, I love music, so I have to ask you, when you say you've written like over 1,000 songs, tell us like what genre of music, what if somebody wants to check you out? Like how do they get to hear your songs?
Wow, it's under Oh the Architect, right? But even that, when you said who am I? Like that's literally what I called my music thing. It was called I Am Music, right? That was like my
Mm.
label that I had started like, years ago, over a decade ago, 15 years ago. I don't even know how long ago. Because that when someone would ask me what genre do you do, I really did every genre, right? Like I started obviously like not obviously, but I started with kind of gangster rap. Then I did like hip hop, rock hip hop in Spanish, R&B, then I like everything. I just kept trying everything. I did a couple reggae songs. I did like a jazz type song. Like I've done just everything. So really
Mhm.
there is no like that's what I mean. I don't get put in a box. I just keep doing whatever I feel, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, great. So, oh, the
Architect. Oh, the architect.
and we could find you on YouTube.
Everywhere. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, any place where there's
Wow.
music. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So, are you still creating music right now, or are you
Yes.
giving that a little break? Yes, you are.
Yeah. Yeah. I just released like 3 singles within the last couple weeks. Um,
What? You're
yeah.
you're you're having a run. You're on fire.
Yeah, yeah.
I would love to hear what your so these songs that you've released, they're rap songs or the recent ones?
One of them
Your
is
recent.
more like hip hop. It has a live feel to it, right? Like guitars, saxophone, drums, but it's a
Hmm.
little more like hip hop. The other one is more R&B uh style, Like
Hmm.
well, I mean, I guess I'm pretty sure your audience is more adult, right? So I could say like one of them it's a little more like sexual, right? Like adult, like that song. I just put it like that. Oh, actually, that's what I should have started with. One of them actually, it's just an instrumental, and I named it "To Be in Love." And yeah, and that song started. I was feeling this energy, and it was really like love. And I was like, there must be, because well, for your guests, I guess they should know I'm really tapped in spiritually, right? So I started feeling all this love, and I was like, what is this love that like there's this energy of love. I wonder if in the collective there's like, are people
Mm,
starting to, yeah, be open to the love? There's some kind of love in the air. And
yeah.
sure enough, even after I had already finished that instrumental that I released as an instrumental, I came across like some readers and different channels, and everyone had that theme of love. So I was like, oh wow, I think I was picking up on that, and I was able to channel that into like a musical piece, right? Yeah, to be in
Yeah,
love.
I
Yeah.
wish we had a sample. I wish
Oh
we had a sample of that. You know what? Somehow we got to get a sample.
no, well, we'll put a link. I mean, anyone that wants
You
to
put
hear,
a
we'll put a
link.
link.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes, yes, yes. Send me the link and I could do exactly that. I'll attach it to the description and anything else you want to share will be in the description. So once this live is done, I'll do that. So make sure if you're watching this live, you go to the description and you check out how to connect with O, the architect. And I want to know a little bit more because I'm so big on names, right? I want to know a little bit more about, tell us about Oh, the architect. Was there like a something that happened when you got that name?
There actually
Like what's the
was.
story? Yeah, what's the story around that? If there's
Okay.
one, yeah?
No, no, there is. So before that, when I started rapping, I was in a group. I went kind of by like the nickname we have, like, you know, in the streets or whatever, right? Like what people knew me as, like that, right? I never liked it, right? But whatever, that was the name I was using. But then one day, I was having like a spiritual experience, right? And it was like I was in my house walking in the hallway and a door swung open and it was my grandpa that had already passed away. But it was like I saw him and it was like and I woke up in my bed and it was like instantly I already knew. It was like, oh, the architect, right? It was like, well, oh, from so it was more of a title. It wasn't like oh, obviously for Omar, but then the
Yeah,
architect, right? Oh, the architect, because people will call me oh sometimes too, right? Like
yeah,
oh. So it was like because my grandpa was an architect, right? He was, well, that's how I thought of him, right? I guess I didn't really know, but he would build stuff for the Mexican government, right? He built bridges and dams. At one point, the president of Mexico wrote him a letter like thanking him and this and that. I wish, someone would have kept that because it's cool to have, I guess. But yeah, he went all over the country, like building stuff, building dams, bridges, all this stuff. I actually put together a book of all these like old pictures from the 1920s, 1930s. Yeah, I put a book together. I released it. Most of the pictures are black and white, but I thought, once these pictures, like they're already starting to fade once they go, there are pictures, over 100 years old. Once they're gone forever. So I put them into a book, right? And then I released that like kind of in honor of my, you know, that like my grandpa and other relatives, right? This and that. So, but yeah, so he came to me in that vision, and it was deep because we had a connection because he had Alzheimer's, right? So when I was growing up, he lived with us and he had Alzheimer's, and he didn't remember anybody except for me. So I didn't
mm,
understand that, right? Like as a kid, it was like, and he would always tell me good things, right? Like when I was little, I felt like he was like kind of like an angel put there to tell me positive things because I felt like I wasn't really getting that from a lot of places, right? But he would always say good things, and so it was funny that he came to me in the vision to tell me like, boom, from this day forth, like you're the architect. So
wow.
yeah, yeah.
How did your life change? Were there like things that you noticed that changed after that vision, like after that visitation?
I mean, no, it wasn't that. It was just like with that identity of the music, right? I mean, it's important to us because then I saw myself as there was a
Yes.
title to it, right? Because even now, when I made music, I would see the whole thing in my head. Even when I would hire, like I'd go to hire professional producers before I really got good at producing. I never took credit for it, but I would tell the producer, like I was instructing them
Yeah,
along the
of
whole way.
course. Of course.
But I would always let them, yeah, I would let them take credit. No, because not everybody does that, but I would let them take credit. I don't care. Just make it sound good. But I'd be like, oh, why don't you play this? Why don't you play that?
Yeah, I
Like
fully
stuff like
agree.
that. So
Yeah.
it's like I would see the whole design in my head, and then that's why I thought of it like, oh, it makes sense, like an architect. Because before I
Mhm.
even make a song, I already saw the beginning to the end. I just gotta,
Facts.
yeah, I just gotta fill in the gaps, and then that's it, right?
Mhm,
So,
mhm, mhm, mhm. I totally understand what you're saying. I usually say that spirit gives me the blueprint for things, you know,
mm.
like whatever, like we talked earlier today about the retreats, right? It's the same thing. Like I kind of
Oh,
see it. And remember I was telling you that,
yeah, yeah,
right? Like I see it and then it's like, okay, a matter of just filling in, to make that thing happen. So
that's right.
yes, I love that. When did you start making music? How old are you?
Probably like 15, and at that age I was already drinking, so I would just be freestyling at like parties, right? Like, and then one friend told me, "Hey, man, maybe you should write it down." And then I told him, "Well, what do I rap about?" Like, he's like, "Oh, you should." And then he's like, "Just rap about what you go through." So that's where it became more. For most of my life, I was writing more from experience, as opposed to, like, a lot of hip hop artists is that creativity, right? They're the wordsmiths, the way the metaphors, this and that. That didn't happen for me till a long time, till later on. First, it was all about my experiences, right? So that was most of my rapping at first. Then I got the, oh wow, I could flip words like this and do all this other stuff, right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what do you think, like, why do you think for you, I know, like you said, you have that spiritual connection also, right? And I know there's other gifts and stuff that you have, but music, I guess I'm on this music tip because I also have a great connection with music. And in this day and age, it's like music is different. It's not the way I almost don't even want to call it music. I don't know what, there's something playing out there. You know what I mean? And I find like while there's a new way that of doing music now, it's not something's missing, right? Like something's missing in the majority of new things that's just coming out. You do every now and then have like your person who is singing and you could feel it. Like music to me back in the day, there were more artists that were able to sing, and when they sang you felt it, not just felt it because the notes were right. I mean, you felt it like their soul was in that, right? Do you find that, are you like, do you feel like you're experiencing something similar to what I'm talking about, like as far as like the music that's out there, like on a whole?
well, I mean, I'll be honest, like, I don't listen to a lot of the new music because, but see, I don't
Mm,
blame it because I was there at one point. I know, like, there's very few songs I regret making, but there is, like, I probably have, like, I mean, I've written over 1,000 songs, but I've only been able to release like maybe 200 and something. Let's say like around 250 or something that I've been able to put out in these
yeah.
27 albums and singles that I've released. And in all those like 200 plus songs, there's probably 5 songs or so that I regret making because maybe they were too negative, right?
Mhm.
Like whether gangster, like talking about that kind of stuff, violence, this and that. But I knew at that moment when I made it, I was in that vibration. I was, heated. I was angry. I don't care. Like at that moment, it's like even that you could rationalize it that, well, I better I put it in a song than I go do it. So in a way, I get that, right? Like I rather, even if it is maybe to us, for lack of a better word, if we consider it garbage, right? We're like, man, this is garbage. But hey, for some reason, maybe they needed that at that moment, and it is what it is. But on a vibrational level, yeah, I don't connect with a. There are songs, yes, every once in a while there's some stuff out here, and I'm like, oh wow, this is really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the other stuff, yeah, I don't vibrationally, I don't connect with it.
I think, I guess what I'm getting at is like, even music that is quote unquote negative, I wouldn't call it negative. Like
Oh, okay.
there are some music that maybe, it's maybe some of the lines are not very quote unquote loving. I still vibe. I'm still like, yeah, I'll
Yeah, yeah,
still be there vibing with that.
absolutely,
And the thing is because exactly what you said at first, it's capturing the human experience.
exactly.
So whether you're like a young guy going through and you're hustling, you're talking about the struggle, you're talking about like fearing for your life, you're talking about having to protect your family, doesn't matter. Like if you're able to be truthful in your sound, that could be felt. even if your words are like talking about whatever it is you're going through, but someone could be like, man, this guy's having it hard. Like this guy, you're feeling it. It's not, I wouldn't call it low vibrational. I kind of feel more so the music that doesn't capture soul. That to me is what's low. When people are just making music, it doesn't even matter. Someone could make music and say all the right words, that it like all the right, oh, this is lovely, and they could talk about energy and they could talk about God, and you could still be like, this is some low vibrational shit. It doesn't even matter. So it's not in the words. I'm saying right now, it's almost like before music had such amazing healing. It was so healing, I think, because people were putting themselves into it. Like
Absolutely.
they were giving themselves, like they went through a breakup or whatever, and then they were telling you, like, man, this hurts, like in this way and that way. And someone may consider those songs low vibrational, but no, it's like you actually get a chance to be part of that person's experience and also feel like, wow, you've been, through a heartbreak and this person is there too. It almost, music had a way of connecting us.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? Through
Yeah.
the experience, right? And I feel like that's the part that I'm saying is missing. That's the
Yeah.
part where I feel like you're not hearing like it's all about the gymnastics now, like using this and using that. But like, can we, like, what is this soul saying? What's the truth right now?
Absolutely. And see, that's why now I see my life as a blessing, right? Because I never got the big record contract or nothing like that. But no one ever controlled what I wrote. I
Yes.
don't think I've ever written a song for money ever once. Oh no, no, actually, yeah, someone paid me. It was like for a commercial that they played it like
Yes.
in, the baseball stadiums and this and that. So they actually sent me a beat. They were like, "Hey, can you write something to this?" Cool. Boom. I wrote like 2, 3 songs for them and I got my check. So it's cool. But other than that, for myself, I only wrote what I felt. And so this is something I guess that might tie into what you were asking because even though the first club song I ever wrote, it was more of a challenge. Like it was hard. That's the hardest song I ever wrote.
Your pop
Like
song?
a club song because usually I would write boom. That's what I would write like right off like boom. That was it. It was good already. But with the
Yeah.
club song, it was like I wrote all the hooks for the singer, amazing singer, right? Amazing singer. Uh, I wrote all his singing parts, but then my two rap verses, it was like yeah, I wrote one verse and then I couldn't get the second one. It took me like 8 verses, right? So I used the first and the eighth verse, and all the middle ones I threw away because I just couldn't. It was hard. It was hard because that wasn't my thing, like rapping about like being in the club and the
Yeah.
drinks and this and that. And so that was
The
the hardest club, but I took it as a challenge. So I still appreciated that song because it was the hardest song to write for me because it was just
Mhm,
like,
mhm.
yeah, I wasn't used to it. But what I was gonna say was like, see, the thing that did happen with music was that for example, artists 20 years later, they came out and they said, "Oh, I had an album with 16 songs." And the record execs, let's say like 15 of the songs were positive. The record execs were like, "Oh, aren't you gonna rap more about the
Wow.
drugs and the
Yes.
hoes and this and that?" So
Mhm.
basically the artists were like saying, "Hey, they sold out," and all the kids that came after that, that's what
Oh,
we were influenced by. But it took them 20 years to start admitting these things. So that's what happened to music is it did get hijacked, right? So that's why the independent artist is like, there's always been good music. It's just you have to go. It's not gonna be the mainstream stuff. Well, I mean, not good, but am- as as far as like what you're saying about the soul, right? People that are
yeah.
spewing out their soul on a song still exists. It's just you weren't gonna find it on the mainstream. It's all out there. You just have
Yeah.
to go to underground or independent
Underground.
artists.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
that's so that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. So where do you fit in right now? Because you said you're still writing. So when someone listens to your music, and I really seriously mean it when I say I believe like music is so powerful I think of like so many things I've been through, and it was just like, I don't know how to get out of this thing right now. And it would just come to me, and I just put a certain song on, and I would like be able to ride it through the night. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just get through another hour, you know. So I have such a deep appreciation for music and a person being able to take their time to write something that would to write, to sing, to produce in whichever way, something that at some later point in life can like help somebody through life. So music is so powerful to me. Right now, you are still making music and you have that spiritual connection. What is your insight about your spirituality and your gift to compose or to create music? What do you think it's all about for you?
I think I mean, I don't want to say it's all for others, but at the same time, it is because since I do write in that fashion of what I'm going through, it's always gonna reach somebody, right? On any given day, there's someone that one of the songs will reach because, like the one I just made, right? I called it a beautiful tragedy, but it's in the hook. It's saying life's a beautiful tragedy, right? Like life's a beautiful tragedy. I tell you what that means to me, you know. And then whatever I'm saying,
Mhm.
you can have everything. So that song is definitely um for a young, like not just younger, but someone that doesn't realize that in this life we are creating, right? Like obviously your name is what dream manifest. How does it say? Dream manifest.
Dream manifestation specialist.
Exactly. So that's
Yeah.
literally that's funny because that's literally what I'm talking about in the song, right? Like you
Mhm.
can manifest your dreams in this reality.
Mhm.
So I just share my journey, right? About like through all these songs, right? At this point, now I don't need, now, see, when I was young trying to make it in the music, that's what it was. You had to get signed because, I would go to a studio where it's like a studio that's like $500,000 of equipment. And it's like, when was I, a kid that grew up poor in financially, not obviously not poor in, but financially
Mhm.
without the means. When was I gonna be able to pay someone? I mean, even those connections were like, cause someone took us there, right? Like, oh, so they saw we had talent, they took us to these studios, but it was like you're at their mercy, right? When they want to record you, when they want to this, it's like you're trying to get the record deal, this and that. Now you don't need anybody. Like you can do it with your computer, right? You don't need anybody. So now nothing stops me. Like I can make music at any time and I just share my experiences and it's a beautiful thing. I don't know what you had asked me, so I don't want to be going ranting on about what was the question originally? I don't even know.
So basically my question is, but I like what you shared there anyways, but my question
Thank you.
to you is tie in for me like your spiritual connection and your gift of music. And how do you plan to utilize it like going forward, right, in life? Like someone like I guess you could say maybe for me, I'm more an artist, like visual artist than I am a musician, right?
Mm,
Um, definitely more a visual artist than a musician. So when I have a purpose to my artwork. When I actually not just, drawing with the children or painting with the children, but like when I actually sit down, I'm usually painting visions that I receive, right? So my connection to spirituality and art, I'm literally using my paintings to, how do you say, like give people inspiration, right? And
mm.
also, I'm putting spiritual concepts that may be difficult to articulate with words. I'm putting them into pictures so that we can remember and learn things and whatever the case may be. So that's kind of what I'm saying. What's the connection with your spiritual your spiritual connection to source, to God, most high, higher self, however you want to put it? How do you feel that that's being utilized through your vessel and through the gift of music?
I think well, let me tell you one of the things. So I might
Mhm.
as well, since you opened up that box, then I might as well.
There we go. Tell me. There it is.
Yeah.
That's it. You're in it now.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the first things that started happening to me spiritually was I started realizing that when I would write songs, they would come true. So I was having premonitions through the songs. So I'd write songs. Sometimes it'd be in a year, sometimes it'd be 5 years, 10 years, right? So that was one of my first where I was like, wow. And that kind of always kept me tapped in because anyone that creates music, it, I know it's not, but in a way to me, that's the best way to describe it. That it's like giving life, like how someone would have a baby. It's like you're having a baby and then poof, off into the universe you go or to the world
Same
and do
energy.
what you need to
It's the
do.
same energy.
Huh?
It's the same energy. It's
Yeah,
creative
yeah.
energy. You need energy to make a song, to do a painting, to create, and then also a baby. It's the same. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's how I would imagine all the little babies that I've made and send them off into the world, right? So, while the ones I've been able to release, right? So that's how it was with this music. I understood, like sometimes if I listen to a song I wrote like 10 years ago, I'm like, man, like where's like how come like I haven't written nothing like that, but I changed also because to me it was always important. Like for example, when I first got in a group, me and my friend, we used to kind of rap like Bone Thug style. And I love Bone Thugs for me. But I realized people didn't even understand what we were saying. Like when you rap all fast, it's like, brrr, yeah, it sounds cool and it hits you. They understand like the melodic parts, right? When you slow it down and the hook and this and that. But that was our thing, right? And me and my friend had friendly competition. So we're always trying to outdo each other. I'm gonna rap faster. I'm gonna rap faster. So we got good at that. But for me too, I was like, well, people don't even understand. And it was important for me to that they understood because I was giving a message. So then I was like, you know what? And that kind of happened over the years. I don't like saying the word dumbing down the lyrics, but I realized it was easier for people to understand if I slowed it down, just kind of kept it simple. You know what I mean? But when I listened to that older, like the way I used to write before, even, it was like, I'm surprised. I'm like, wow, like, I was saying things. Yeah, I was saying things in the lyrics that, like, now, right now, that there's so many channels and spirituality. I was saying the things that I see, like, a top
Yeah.
guru saying or this and that. I had already wrote it, and I can't take credit for it because I did feel like it was all divinely inspired, right? Because it's just like boom, 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 and sometimes I'll listen to a message from a song it's almost like it was meant for me. That 10 years later, I'm going through something and I hear my own song and like, oh wow, I'm giving myself, like, did I write that song for future me? So I could heal from whatever I'm going through 10 years in the future with that song. Like it's crazy, right? So I don't know, that kind of helps explain like part of the spiritual connection with the music or oh,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
well,
Go
let me
ahead.
say,
Well, more.
huh?
I said, go ahead. Give me
Okay.
more.
Okay. Like so it did keep me open all the time, right? So I was always open, right? So I had this connection with like that. Like when I was younger too, I know it had to do with the music too. I would write biblical stuff that before I really even read the Bible, I was already starting to write like, and I would look it up, right? Before that, the internet was fairly new, so it was very slow, dial up and all that, right? So I would say words that I would try to make them. I'm like, what is this? I'd have to open an encyclopedia. And it was funny that my brain already knew to look up these words in an encyclopedia. Like, what am I saying? Like, what is this? I know I'm saying something that I don't even know where that word came from. Where is that word coming from? And I'll find it in the encyclopedia. Sometimes it'll be something biblical or this or that. And I'm like, what? Like, so that was like, it was always an open channel with the music. And someone even suggested, like, I interviewed someone that was very aware of that, and they said, like, every song I wrote, it was like I was making strings attached. So it's like I was putting these chords. So there's like all these open portals with all these songs. And like you're supposed to kind of cut the chords after. And I kept all these chords open. So I was like, wow, that wasn't good, right? Like, I mean, I survived it, but yeah, it's like always being an open channel. We would like thousands of chords, right? Like or more, whatever, endless chords. So yeah.
I love how we're talking about the music and it's like chords,
Oh,
all the
yeah, that's right. I didn't think about
See, even in just our talk, you're getting bars right now.
it. Funny, that's true.
Yeah. But I'm listening to you and I'm seeing, I always would tell people, like, when somebody is operating in their gifting, they are that's you're seeing, this is you're seeing God. You're seeing God. You want to know what God looks like? Look at a person who's lost in their art.
Mm,
Look at a person lost in their art. It could be a farmer, it could be a ballerina, it could be someone freestyling. I just love to be around that energy. Like anytime somebody is in their zone, in their gift and they're just flowing in it, you could feel it. The vibe is so high. You're like, yes, they're in their presence. And whether you want to say it's their higher self or God or whatever the case may be, I definitely can say, like, with what you're sharing, especially about saying words that you don't even know what these words mean, or, basically foretelling things in your work. I have the exact same experiences. I've painted things.
mm,
And when I usually would say, sometimes when I'm painting, I'm in trance. Like if I'm not painting, even sometimes when I'm painting visions that I've seen, at a certain point, I'm so much into just painting, and I'm self-taught, right? But I'm so much into the painting, and then at a certain point, it's like I just kind of come to, and I'm like, wow, okay, it's done. Don't ask me how to reproduce what I just painted. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I made it look that way. I don't know, whatever. I couldn't, that's why I'm like, I could never really teach someone how to paint, because it's a thing for me. And it's a very spiritual practice, like you writing your songs. And I've had times where I've looked back, or I've gotten messages, and spirit has literally said, go back and look at that painting. And I'm looking at the
mm,
painting like, holy crow, this was in 2007. This was in 2001. This is like so long ago. And I'm now seeing the message in a drawing, or in
wow.
a painting. And it always just gives me that feeling like, look, you've had this knowledge, you've had this information, you've been connected to this, like, for so long, you've had it. It's like, when Moses is saying, he needs to part the sea to cross through, and it's like, well, look in your hand. It's like
Mm,
the thing, you've always had the thing. It's there,
mm.
you know? And so sometimes I remember one time I did a past life regression, and in it, there was a certain part of that where at the end I got a message when I was coming out of it. And the message was that the reason why some of my paintings hadn't sold yet is because I still hadn't received the message that was in it.
Oh,
Yeah, and so it's like, until you understand what you painted, it's staying right there on your wall.
wow.
And I'm telling you, like, as time has gone by, I look now at some of my paintings and I'm like, yeah, I thought I knew what this was, but I don't. Like, it's not in my conscious mind yet.
Mm.
So that connection, when you realize that connection with your work, how does it affect you, like, presently creating work then? Because, like, for me, when I realize that you're painting future things, or you're painting whatever, it causes me to be even more aware of the experience of painting. Like, it's such a sacred thing for me. Most people have never seen me paint. Like, actually paint, what they just, it's just such a sacred such a sacred thing for me when I'm in that zone. um Probably like one of the most sacred things, for me personally, just because I know what's happening. It's communion, it's deep communion. So now that you may be writing for your future self, you may be giving, you know what I mean, these nuggets right now that you don't even comprehend. Does it, or has it changed your, I guess, has it changed your process, or what has it done to you now that you have that realization?
I mean, I've never like the way I write is just like I this was one thing I realized early on. sometimes it wasn't my energy, right? So I wouldn't be feeling good until I wrote a song. And as soon as I would write the song, boom, it was gone. So it
Yeah.
would be an energy that, like that. Maybe, back then I wasn't as aware as I am now that, it was probably, a spirit, like they wanted their story told. So I've not only told my own story, but it's like a story being told. Like, for example, one of the first ones I had was well, I don't know. Somebody told me like I don't want to share that story. But um yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know why, really, but it's just like I
You
was
can
gonna
share
share.
this one if you want.
No, I wasn't gonna share it, and I felt like something didn't want me to share it. So but there's just a lot of that, right? Like that's one thing I learned. So my process didn't change with anything else aside from sometimes I wouldn't feel good. That I felt now in hindsight, it'd be almost like, let's say I could say it is like part of my contract, right? This is one of the things I came to earth to do, right? So sometimes I wouldn't be left alone until I wrote this song and then boom, I'll feel better, right? So it was like some kind of nagging energy that I had
Yes.
to, like, even before, like I woke up late to work and it was crazy. It was like I woke up late to work. I called and I was like, "Hey, I could still go. I'm late." They're like, "Nah, it's fine. Just stay home." And I felt horrible because I was like, "Man, I'm very like I'll be to work on time, this and that." And I stayed home and I ended up writing a song that ended up being like one of my favorite songs I wrote. And I was like, "Wow." So nothing ever happened by accident. Nothing. Everything, like I wrote so many songs like in kind of freakish ways like that, right? Like I ended up going here instead of there and I wrote a song or just weird things like that. So everything always had a purpose, whether I saw it or not, right? Every song came and I would see, I'd be like, oh wow, like if this and this wouldn't have happened, I would have never wrote this song. If this, you know what I mean? Even that, like getting like exactly someone getting like heartbroken or something like that, or something, everything led to a song. So that's the only thing that I realized, right? Nothing really changed my process, but that's kind of one of the things I realized.
Mm, I love that. I love that. So I have been extremely selfish because we're talking about music. We're talking, I'm meeting another,
Oh,
creative person. So I just like took it all, I took it over all of my own personal questions. But there is a question in the chat. Okay, so this is from Dwayne, and Dwayne says, he has two questions. Maybe we already answered the first one. What role does creating music play in your personal journey?
mm,
And he also has, also, does he have a favorite song that means a lot to him? How did it come? And what effect has it had on his life?
oof.
Did it have on
Um,
his life? So do you want to go with the first one first and then we'll hit the second one?
okay, read the first one again real quick.
First one, what role does creating music play in your personal journey?
More than anything, like when I was young, there was a rapper, like street rap that said, if it wasn't, I don't know how he said it, I forgot, but he said, if it wasn't for music, I'd be dead or in jail. And that's
Mm.
exactly because I grew up like, with the street thing. And then at one point when I saw, like, especially me and my friend, we were the same. Like, we were the same. We were like together. It was like, forget it, right? But we kept each other alive too. And then once we saw we had something with the music, it was like that. Like,
Mhm.
oh, well, let's just hang out and make music instead of going out there.
Yeah.
I'll put it to you like this. Out of everyone I knew when I turned 18, I started buying my own life insurance because I expected one
Mhm.
of these, days like it's gonna happen because I was growing up around that, right? Like, so I wouldn't back down when someone, like people will pull out guns. I wouldn't, even if I didn't have a gun, I wouldn't back down because I was just angry. That fueled a lot of the music too. But at one point, so music saved my life, first of all. So music was put into this to first save my life, literally, as in, oh, wow, I'd rather do music than be out there. I don't even care. Like it became okay. Let me say this real quick because it is tied into love, right? So
Yes, it is.
music I feel like was really my first love because I used to say this. I don't, I don't want it to come off mean, but I used to say this when I was young. So I'll just say it. I used to say like, in high school I was already saying this. if music or like, like that, like let's say a girl, right? Like a girl that I was dating or something, and music were falling off a cliff, I'd reach for music. Like I used to
Yeah.
say that, But that's when I was like in high school, whatever, right? But I guess I meant it then, right? Like I just meant like I loved music that much, even at that age, right? In high school, right? So maybe not literally, right? Obviously, I'd probably reach, you know, like
You
not to
love
be
music.
beaten,
You love
huh?
music. You love
Huh?
music.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
No,
love
so music was my first. Like I fell in love with music. Like when I like the song, he's still like the other day. Like now I go like I'll do yoga and stuff, and the yoga instructor was playing this song, and I was like, man, I couldn't even. All I was listening to was like that song. I was like, you got to tell me what song that is, and then so she told me, and then after that, I heard that song on repeat like over 100 times. Like no kidding. Like I was just like, man, because it's different too than what I listen to. See, like she introduced me to something different. It was very like melodic, very slow, just very like, and they're singing, but no, they're more like moaning, making sounds and this, and it just hit my soul. I was like, oh man, you gotta tell me what the name of this song is, right? So
Yeah.
I still
You
fall in
remember
love
the
with
name of
music.
you remember the name of the song?
Waste, waste. Yeah.
Okay.
But I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
pick it up.
What was the name of the I don't remember the name of the maybe I have it here somewhere. Yeah, yeah. Because I put it, I'm not playing, like I literally put it on a playlist and
I believe
oh
you, trust. I
yeah,
just
yeah.
got my Spotify. My daughter showed me like, Mom, you can look at your Spotify. They do like that wrap up where you could see like how much music you've listened to.
Oh wow.
And the year is not even done yet. And I think I had, let me see, because I just sent it, I shared it with a few of my friends. Because I wanted to know, how much how much time they did. And what did it give me? Oh yeah, I listened to basically like 60,000 minutes of music.
Hmm.
Uh, and I don't think that was a lot, but then I'm thinking like, okay, I guess it is a lot because then my husband's was like way low. Everybody's saying it's a lot, but I don't know, maybe
How much was yours?
about 60,000
Oh
sixty
wow.
thousand minutes
Wow,
of
that is a lot.
music.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And
you
it's
think about, yeah, there's only 365 days in a year, so you break down like if you start
Yeah,
doing the
no,
math.
but you know what? I love music so much. I listened like from I was younger in order for me to do my homework, in order for me to do cleaning, in order for me to do anything I had to do. Once you put music on, I just got into a zone. I just got
Yeah.
into a It's just like it's so therapeutic for me. Anything I do, it's just I have a speaker beside me right now. Like I move around the house. Oh, go in here now. I'm gonna cook. Put that music on. It's just a vibe. If you know how to connect, you know what I mean. You know exactly the right song to play. Exercise, you're listening to music. You're doing work outside, music. Or if I'm not playing music, there's music in my head. I'm singing somebody's song. I literally like it's always like I don't know how to explain it to you. Maybe that's not okay.
No, no, absolutely.
It's
No,
like
you know
all
that I read about that so now it all makes sense, right? Like why music hits us the way it does, because they said we're literally walking music. Like our, I don't know if it's the cells or everything has its own note inside of us. So we're literally like whatever, millions or whatever little pieces of individual music. So we're walking music already. So
already.
yeah, yeah.
That
So it makes perfect sense. And even, it makes me feel good that I had that thing, I am music, right? That's what I was saying, because we
Mhm.
literally are. What was that? I was gonna tell you something. I completely forgot. It's fine.
So you were telling me you're saying about yeah, you went to yoga and then you learned you got this new song and you
Oh,
listened to it like 100 times.
yeah, about falling in love with music. I know it was gonna be something to do with that, about falling in love with music, but I
Mhm.
forgot oh, yeah. So yeah, and I literally like I had my first girlfriend like in high school, but then after high school I had kind of the more serious one, right? Like a serious relationship, and that's
Yeah.
literally how we broke up. It was when we went to the studio. Back then it was like, even at the studio, like we had to record everything live, or I don't know, just that studio, they weren't as tech
Yep.
savvy. You used to record on these ADATs, I believe they're called, or something, these cassettes. They weren't even like CDs or not. It was like um
Exactly. know.
we had to record everything like in one take, so we had to keep redoing it the whole night, and we had to record from midnight to like I don't know 6 in the morning or something, or I don't know. But anyways, I guess the girlfriend I had, I don't know if there were already cell phones or she was paid like with the pager, right, the whole night. And then so that's the thing. When I called her the next morning, she was like, "Oh, I was like, I was at the studio. I told you this and that." Oh yeah, right. She didn't believe me. So I was like, "All right, cool." Then she broke up with me. So I was like, "Cool. I don't care." Like I was doing music, so it was
Yeah.
an easy choice. So I even like I really did love music that much. I lived up to it. I was like, "You're not even worth my like the music."
Mhm,
Not that she would,
mhm.
but like I cared about her, but music was
For sure.
more. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's life. It's life.
yeah, yeah. So I really like lived up to that, like about loving music. So
Yeah. Someone was asking me that, like, if I would rather like go through life without seeing or without hearing. And the
mm,
only thing I could think about is like, yo, what if I never heard music? It was so hard to imagine life if I never encountered music. Like like just imagine if you could never hear a beat. You could never, and I mean, let's go beyond hearing, like even feeling the bass. There's something about when you feel bass coming in at the right time in a song, like the whole thing. You know what I mean? Just imagine if
no,
you never had the ability to, I don't know. I can't. I don't even want to. It's so sad when you think about
no,
it.
no. But there's a funny thing. I worked once with this guy that was deaf, and he had the loudest car system you could imagine, and we worked with his brother too, right? He taught me like one of my first like sign language things, which was like I thought he was playing around, but he was like this, right? The bull, and that
Yeah.
literally meant like bullshit, right? Oh, I don't know if I could I say that or yeah.
You
So
can. It's so
okay, yeah, yeah. So it was funny, but I thought he was playing around, but I guess that's really how you say it. But his brother worked with us too, and he said, yeah, like he feels the bass, like the bass. So I was like,
Mhm.
wow. So no matter what, even without the ears, the body's still feeling all the music. So he had like, yeah, it was crazy. He had the craziest like car stereo system. So he still see music, you need it, right? So even he
Yeah.
needed to hear the music. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I don't know. It's so weird. It's a thin line because I mean, imagine I'm a visual artist, but yeah, if
Oh,
I hear music in my head all the time. Not and even I always say to myself, at a certain point, I think I'm gonna just cease everything I'm doing and I'm just gonna learn to play like every instrument. Because it's like there's so much music inside, and I feel like I don't have the skill right now in this life to be able to express all of the wonderful things I hear, you know? And even singing, like I hear things in my head and I'm like, oh, I'm so scared to try to hit that note, you know what I mean? And but I mean over the years it's gotten better, as
wow.
far as like not having the shyness, behind it. But I love if when I find out someone can sing or they can do something, like I have friends, they could tell you you're not getting away from me. It's gonna be like, can you sing that? Oh, it's my birthday's coming up. You're gonna sing that song at my funeral. My people who know, I've already arranged who's singing at my funeral, bro. Like it's already a thing. It's gonna be a party. And people are like, oh, don't talk about you dying. I'm like, listen, we all gonna leave here sometime. When my time actually comes, we're having a party and these people will sing this song and this song and the music has to be here. I told my children because a girlfriend of mine passed away the other day and we were at
Mm,
her celebration of life and I was like, listen, anyone who's sitting down at my celebration of life, tap them on the shoulder and let them exit. Like we're not
mm,
having this sit down, cry thing. Y'all could cry, but dance and cry. You know what I mean? Yeah, music you have to feel the rhythm, you have to feel it. And that's what I would want, like, people to be able to just really celebrate and enjoy life. Remember, like life is movement. That's the thing about music. It's that movement. Even if the song is a slow song, it moves your soul. It
mm.
brings tears out your eyes, all types, right?
Absolutely. No, and then
Yeah.
well, first my condolences for your friend and
Yes.
for you losing your friend. And you just reminded me that was one of my I thought of it like a superpower, but at the same time, see, like because of so many life and death situations when I was young,
Mhm.
that's what made me write. I didn't wait, right? It was like, well, if I'm gonna die tomorrow, I'm gonna go record this song in the studio. Sometimes I had no money. I used
No.
every dollar I had to go pay for studio time. I went and recorded because I was like, and sometimes that's how I did it. I was like, I think this song is gonna help somebody, right? Like
Yeah,
this
that's so
song
beautiful.
needs, yeah, because it hit me. Oh, and that would happen. So now I could say it after all these years. Back then I would have never said it, but sometimes I would write these songs, I'll break down in tears. I didn't even know why, right? It was so that's how I knew when songs were like something more, right? It wasn't just I was like, why am I like, there was something in there, right? Something in there that I can't see yet, right? But it's supposed to, and sometimes it wasn't even a sad song. It was maybe something in there, inspirational something. I didn't really understand how,
Mhm.
but it felt like that's what made it even more spiritual. Like, why am I breaking down crying to this song, right? Like, it was crazy. So yeah,
Yeah.
and that kind of became a superpower, thinking like, why if I die tomorrow, like I'm just gonna release this song, right? And it just kept me going like that, like just releasing songs. So if I were to die today, I don't regret. Like I didn't hold back, right? And that's the sad part. Like you'll see even artists that got signed and they have albums that are shelved, or you know what I mean, stuff like that. Like they never got to release all their stuff because they someone was pulling the strings, basically. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's what you're saying is very important because when I had the near-death experience, the second one on earlier this year in January, one thing I was told also was to tie up loose ends. And I saw
mm,
so many books that I had started. I have so many books that I started writing, and I just didn't finish it. I mean, they're like in my journals and stuff, and I'm supposed to, type them out and all that type of stuff. And I just, oh yeah, I have the title, I have everything organized, but it's like, you gotta make that book, you gotta put it out there. And there were a few, three of them specifically, two most important, but three of them specifically that I said, I am not gonna let January, um, because that's when the near-death experience happened. I'm like, there's no way I'm letting that date come to me. And I did not at least do the two books that were definitely shown to me. So I had just been working on, I already finished one of them. I'm finishing up the other one because I'm like, January, I am not, I got a whole 12 months. You know what I mean? There's no way I'm not gonna have this thing finished. So if we were to literally live as if every day was our last day, can you imagine? Because the question I would ask you is, I have lyrics in my head all the time, but I don't necessarily get to write those out, poetry, all these different types of things. But I think the reason is because I'm not thinking tomorrow might be my last day. And so when someone looks at someone like, okay, wow, this guy has like over 1,000 songs and he has put like 250 something songs out there. How did he do it? That's the answer. Like if you're
that's yeah,
thinking, if
that's
you're
how.
thinking tomorrow might be, look how much you've accomplished just by literally taking hold of whatever experience you're experiencing today or yesterday, whatever, and putting it onto your paper and being like, yep, that's the listen, if that's the only thing you share with me, like that's so powerful because it's the answer. It's people just think that they'll just have time. Like I never thought at the age of 41 that I would be fighting for my life. I'm
Mm,
telling you. And I, because of that experience, I hope to live, past 100 and something, but I don't know. And so it has caused me, even like I said, these books, I've been sitting on them. It's caused me to like take it a bit more seriously and be like, yeah, you don't know when you're gonna go, right? You don't know when anybody's gonna go. So put your stuff out. What are you sitting on? What, because these are all, like we said, the same way your songs can help somebody, books can help, paintings can help, whatever, things we could create can help other people, help ourselves and help others. So don't die. Don't die with that stuff inside of you. I want to die empty. That's what I've been telling people. I want to die empty. When I leave, when I really, really leave, I want to leave empty. Like everything is just out and out there. Like, and that's what even this YouTube channel is about and everything. It's like helping me to be empty. I'm leaving my knowledge, I'm leaving the stories, leaving everything so that someone else can benefit, have a better life. You know what I mean? In some way, somehow. So thank you, brother, so much for saying that, because I think like I received the message and I think I know. And I hope anybody else listening is like really taking it in. He accomplished so much. There are people who are signed and all of this type of stuff, and they still don't have all these type of music out. You know what I mean? Even in today's environment where you could, do your own music yourself online or through whatever, your computer, these people still don't have that much out, and you've been able to put out that music. So thank you for sharing that. I just feel like if Omar can do it, I can do it.
Absolutely no. And right now, when you were talking about your books, like my whole gut lit up like a Christmas tree. So I think there's
Oh,
definitely
you
something.
have
Yeah, yeah.
books
So,
too.
huh?
You have books too?
No, no, no. About like you
Oh,
when
when
you
I
were
was
no.
talking about it.
I
Oh, okay.
actually did. I put out like 4 books like in a year's time. I just started like I wrote one book, I wrote another book. I put it together. The other one was more a book of like some of my favorite song lyrics, right? And I wrote them by hand, and then I like scanned them and put them into the book. Then I did the book of the pictures from the
Yeah,
thing. But that was very tedious, right? Having to scan
yeah.
all these old photos and this and that. So yeah, I when did I think I was gonna be an author? But see, that's what it popped in my head. It popped in my head. I
You
thought
did.
something was telling me, "Hey, write this book,"
Yeah, wow.
and that was about like spirit. That got once I got into the spiritual like aspects of life, right? Which well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to segue into that, but yeah. So I wrote the books, but
Segue,
when
don't you worry. I'm gonna segue. I want you to finish answering the second question, which is what is your favorite song? Like whether it's, let me see, does he mean a song that you've written or just your favorite song in general? Let's see. Let me read it again. Also, does he have a favorite song that means a lot to him? How did it come? And what effect did it have on his life?
okay, I got chills with that question. I'll say the first. So many have helped me in my life, but I'll tell you one that meant a lot was like, in life we go through things, right? And so my mom like was someone that said something kind of, when I was younger, I told her, "Hey mom, do you ever think I'm gonna make it with the music?" And she looked at me dead in the face and she was like, "Sorry, but no." Like that. Like cold, right? Cold. I was like, "Oh wow. It's fine. It's cool." I didn't hold any resentment for her. I actually laughed when she told me. I was like, "Oh wow, you know?" That's probably where I get a lot of my sarcasm from, right? I got that kind of humor, right? Where some people might get offended, but hey, like they'll be like, "Why do you think that's funny?" I don't know, it's funny. But so after that, I got my chance. My revenge came in this way. I knew that in a part when I was little, my mom had like it felt like hundreds of tapes. She would record herself singing. So I think that was her dream. She wanted to be a singer. She would record herself on songs singing, obviously in Spanish, right? So I didn't blame her too because I knew she didn't really understand my music. Most of my music was in English, right? So I wrote this song and it was like I just knew to put her on the hook, on the chorus. So I did a song and the song's about, I was born in Mexico, right? So the song's about Mexico, like my motherland, because it's talking about like, because I always dreamed of that, like, right, going back and living there. Because when I was little, it was like perfect, right? It was like when people talk about heaven, I was like, yeah, I don't have to like, do this or that, like submit to, even really, I don't want to, like, if anyone believes certain religions or this and that, but it was like, you can't sell me on heaven when I've already seen it does exist here on earth. So if you say I got to do this and that to get to heaven, like, sorry, you're not going to sell me on it because I've already seen it and it's real, right? Like here, even, right? Like, I've seen paradise here on earth, right? People are capable of that, believe it or not. Like they've sold us on the idea that we're not, but humans really are capable of it, of being like that here on earth. So, anyways, I made a song about my motherland with my mother on the hook, right? So what better like so and it was like everything worked out perfectly. The guy at the studio needed help moving at the time. I didn't have no money at the time for the studio time. He's like, hey, if you help me move, because I had like a kind of like a truck, right? So it was like, if you help me move, I'll give you a free song studio time. I was like, all right, cool. I helped him move. And then the day he gave me for the studio time, my mom happened to be off on that day from work, and I dragged her to the
Wow.
studio. Yeah, everything just worked out. And it was funny though, because I made her kind of pay like in the studio, because it was like when she hit a note wrong, like the producer would look at me and I'll be like, no, no, did she hit the right note? He's she could do it a little better. All right. So I kept making my mom redo it and redo it and redo it. And after that, she had all the respect in the world. She saw how hard it was to make music. And she was like, oh wow, like you're like, I forgot what she told me word for word, but she was like, oh wow, like you're actually like the real deal. Like you really, like this is amazing, right? And ooh, she was so happy. After that, she was glowing for like weeks, right? She was happy. She never told me anything negative about. So that was my way, right? That was my way of giving her karma. I wasn't mad at her. I was just like, okay, let me show
Let me show
you,
you.
yeah, let me. So that song was very meaningful, right? And sometimes I would be, I worked at a warehouse loading trucks, this and that, heavy work. Sometimes it's like, you get depressed. You'd like, especially that, right? I was like, wow, I felt at that point, I was like, wow, I really have a talent with music. And here I am at this freaking warehouse, like loading trucks. Like, why didn't I ever get signed? Why this, why that? And then that song, I'd be listening and the song with my mom would come on and, ooh, forget it. Like, like I had all the energy in the world, right? I felt like, okay, you just got to keep going. Like I'm doing it for them too, one day so I could get rich and buy them everything and this and that. So it was crazy to hear her voice coming through when I'm listening at work and it
Headphone.
like, yeah, I wasn't tired no more. I didn't have that like, oh, I'm beat
Mhm.
up on this. Like as soon as I heard her voice, it was like, forget it, like boom. So that was a special song. It got me through a lot of stuff. So yeah.
That's so sweet. That's such an excellent pick. That's such an excellent pick. I love the story too behind it. That was a great question.
No, no,
This,
absolutely. And I mean, I won't say another one, but each song would have a story like that long. So that's why I'll just pick that one for now.
yeah. Okay, that's amazing. I'm just double checking the chat. Okay, so I want you to, I want you to, well, we talked about, yes, how do we segue? Is there
Hmm.
something, is there something on your mind that you would like? I usually do this. I give people like a little time to just really give their message, whatever. I got my fun. I pulled out of you what I wanted, right? Now, what about you? You're on here. Who knows how many people may end up seeing this video? Like just like music, just like the paintings, just like everything else, it will get to the right people, the right person. There's someone who needs something inside of you, the message that you're carrying. So I'm gonna ask it to you this way. What do you think is the theme of your music? What do you think is your message? Because I think you're just we're seeing the message in different ways in the songs. You get what I'm saying? It's like we have a tone. Each of us has a tone, has a vibration, and we're just putting that tone through different instruments. You get what I'm saying? It's almost like every song you write is just another way to say the same message. So for someone else to dig it, right? Whether they're on a low or a high or whatever. What do you think your what is your message? Not what do you think? I know you know it. So I want you to just take this time and maybe we don't have the music for you to rap on it or whatever the case is, but just tell us your message. Share with us your message. It doesn't matter how it fits into what we've been talking about. It could be all the way left field, right? Doesn't matter. I want you just to take this time and to just speak freely and to tell us what is your sound. Tell us your sound. Give us your message.
Okay, well, okay, I'll say this. It's kind of like this. I think at one point too, even when I made songs that I thought like, nah, there's no way I could release this song. Like, I don't think I'm supposed to. and spiritually they told me you better release it, like you better. And that's my thing, not even to judge, because all I'm doing is communicating the human experience. It's not even, let's say this whole world got wiped out and we were leaving evidence of what this earth was. That's what I'm doing. It doesn't matter if I'm talking about violence or talking about love or talking about lust or talking about this. I'm literally communicating the human experience. And that's why people relate to music, because we all go through it at one point. It's not about, like, when it came to the music, it's not about, like you said, no good and bad, no negative, positive, because that's the way I wrote music. It was about an experience, right? That's how I wrote music. So it's just my report on earth. What did you go through while here? What did you go through while you were on Earth? Oh, did you really just that? Okay, here you go. Boom, boom. Here's one song. Here's another song. Here's another song. What did I go through on Earth while here? Right? What did I learn in my spiritual walk? What did I learn in my thug life walk? What did I learn when being around, all these different things, right? My indigenous culture, right? What it means to me to be a part of this, what I face with racism, what I face with this, because I wrote a lot of political songs too, revolutionary type songs, all this stuff, right? Cultural things when I was going through that, when I was more involved with activism. So, you know how Bruce Lee says, oh, be water, my friend, right? When you're in the
Yeah.
cup, you've heard that, right? When he says that, that's exactly what it was. With music, I was that. And then, yeah, so I think I was made perfectly to communicate that, right? Like, I was made perfectly to communicate that, to be just that, be water, right? Mold into whatever my surroundings were. That's what I was reporting, right? That's all I've been in this
I
experience. So I know why they told me not to judge it. I was judging it in my human body, human mind. I'm judging. Oh, well, I can't say that. And they told me you better,
Right.
like,
Right.
yeah. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
and that's one thing is in my walk, I have been, and I'm not gonna say I haven't been stubborn and tried to be like, no, I'm not listening to you. But I kind of always give in, right? Like to the spiritual
Yeah.
when I'm being guided, I kind of at some point or another I'll give in. I'm like, fine, I'll do it.
Yeah,
Like,
facts. Trust me, I know.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. So that's it. I'm just doing the report, right? Like you told me to do a report. This is my report. This is what I learned. I just wrote a song. Like I released it a couple months ago, and even that, I wasn't happy with the mix. That's been the one thing that I haven't perfected yet, right? But I knew it was like, if I don't release it now, I'm never gonna release it. I did the best I could, and I just released it. Some people still liked it, like just like that, right? It sounds raw. The mix isn't the best, like. But I released it, and it's called "What Have You Learned," and that's how it goes. What have you learned in this thing called life? Uh,
Can
is
you
it?
give us a little bit of it? Do you remember the words? Can you
Now,
give us a little bit?
I mean, just that. I think the hook is like, "What have you learned in this thing called life? Is it do wrong or right? Is it stand up and fight?" I forgot, like, but it's just saying like these little things, right? The
Yeah.
choices, right? Like it's like, have you learned this, or like, are you gonna do this? Are you gonna do that? Are you gonna do this? Because that's really what all life is. It's about, well, what have you learned, and also the choices, right? All life is, we're always gonna have a choice, and there really isn't like a. I get, I know, I understand. Look, it's like, for example, me, I've never seen hell, right? In a vision
Mhm.
at one time, right? I think that's what they were showing me. But I have seen people get condemned,
Mhm.
and it was like they were burning, and it was like, and even in this vision, I had no expression. I was just like, I understood why that was happening to them, right? But that was different. It wasn't just like the normal stuff. You live life and you didn't like that, right? It wasn't like, oh, I didn't get saved or something, so you're gonna burn it out. It wasn't that kind of stuff. It was like people that really were like, you know, I almost feel this. It's almost like people that were spiritually aware and still chose, like even knowing and
Exactly.
still
Exactly.
choosing. Like that's
Exactly.
why I think they were being condemned, because of what they were doing, even knowing.
Mhm.
That's what I was shown, right?
Mhm.
And it was one of those things of submitting to, like, not getting revenge on something. And hey, like, creator, God, or whatever you want to call, dealt with it, right? Like, don't worry, I got this, right? And I was being shown this, right? It was really really graphic. But yeah, I had no expression. I was just like, oh, okay, and then that was it. You know, I was like, all right. I don't know why I brought that up, but what was it? What was? Oh yeah, yeah. So that's what it is with the music. It's just like we're here experiencing these things, right? And it is like a school. It is a school. Like we are
Mhm.
learning things while we're here, right? We are learning things. We do take them with us. Can I say something about love real quick? Because I know you asked me kind of something else, but can
I,
I
s-
say something?
I said you can say this is your
Okay.
time to say whatever
Okay.
you want.
Okay. So I think this is, for people, right? Like, because I do. I'll read for people, right? I'll do readings for people. Like, I don't broadcast it because I don't really know. I've done it for people that I know, right? Stuff like that, right? So I'm able to communicate with people's loved ones, right? And I'm
Mhm.
telling you, like, from the other side, I felt more love from these spirits, like, or, people's loved ones on the other side than I felt here. It's like when they come through to communicate for somebody, like, it makes me like, I almost can't hold back the tears, right? It's like, wow. So even when people feel alone here on earth, like someone loves you, someone's rooting for you here. It's like they're really rooting for you to do what you need to do while you're here. But everyone knows that on their own. Like everyone knows. Like you've probably just shut it up at some point. And that's kind of the journey, right? Of having to reopen. A lot of
Yes.
us know when we're young, usually, right? We'll know there's something that, oh, I want to be an astronaut. Oh, I want to be this. That's really like something that's calling to you that's already in there. And then we let people shut us up, right? Like imagine if I would have let my mom know and she was like, sorry, but no. you know, like if I would have listened to her when she said that, right? Or different people. I had like friends that I thought were close tell me I wasn't gonna make it with the music, right? People that would come to my house every day and look at me, oh, well, you're not gonna make it. Okay, cool, whatever. And I kept going, right? So, so whatever, they're rooting for you. But yeah, I just know what I've experienced, like, wow, someone always loves you. Like I found more love from the other side, like, and it's crazy. Sometimes it's not even someone you met, it's just one of your ancestors, right? Like a great aunt or someone that you never had contact with here on this physical plane, if you want to call it that, but they love you so much. There's always someone that loves you, and it's exaggerated to where, like it's
Exactly. Yeah.
exaggerated. I
Yeah.
can't even like you have to feel it. I mean, anyone that's knows, they
Yeah.
know, right? Like it's more than I've ever experienced on a human level. So I'll just say that, right?
Exactly.
So someone always loves you. So anyone listening, there's always someone rooting for you, always, and they love you a lot, and that's what it is.
Yeah, it's more than it's pretty much everybody on the other side who's awake, you know, like because some people are on the other side, but they're not awake, they're not aware, they're in a sleep state still for whatever reasons. But those who are aware and awake, they're rooting for everybody here because they all went through this process and they know how easy it is to forget your purpose. So
Mm,
everybody, everybody wants everyone here to succeed.
absolutely, absolutely,
you
absolutely.
know yeah, everybody wants that. Love is like, it's the love is so thick, the love is tangible, the love is real, it's real love, real love. So
Yeah.
I love that message. I was thinking of what you shared about your mom, and you remember earlier today when you were interviewing me and I was talking about when somebody has an issue with you. And so any negativity, like, you receive from that person, you could always reflect on it,
Yeah,
and
no.
your
Yeah.
mom saying to you, you're not gonna make it. And then you realize, oh, she can sing and she didn't get to make it. You
Exactly.
can see like there's that. I mean, it was so beautiful the way that you helped her to make it because she made it by being on your song and all of that happened. I was just listening and I was like, this is so beautiful. This is the opportunities that we have when someone is hurting and they kind of reflect that or project it onto us and we don't realize this is not about me, this is about them. And so the way you handle that by saying, okay, like you said, it's kind of like it's karma. You know what I mean? In a way, this is how I'm gonna get. And do you know what? I think that that is how we sometimes we have such a negative idea of karma, like it's gonna be, karma's out to get you. Like, no, karma is love, it's still love. It's only going to do the necessary thing to help you get into alignment, to settle it, and so your mom, that's what she needed. She just needed a chance, you know what I mean? To have that experience, to be there, to be with you, and to do that. And that's what it was for her, And I just love that. I think that's so beautiful. Is your mom still present? Is she still here?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And does she listen to your music? You gotta make more songs with her, man. You gotta find her tapes. You gotta do something. Put her stuff out.
Well, I wish I would have written more songs in Spanish, right? But it was like,
Mm.
I mean, I've written. Oh, I did do kind of a whole album, right? That's the one I put her on, and it was like that's literally what it was called, a cultural revolution, right? It was like probably half the songs were in Spanish, half of them were Spanish and English, that kind of
Listen,
stuff, right?
listen, Kendrick just dropped that Gen X, right? GNX.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
there's a lot of Spanish. There's a lot of, I wish I could understand everything that is being
Oh,
said
I
on.
didn't know. Okay.
Bro, go take a listen. Like so many of the songs, yeah, he put people on. So it's beautiful. You know what? Maybe I do actually want to know. I could obviously Google it, but you can probably listen to it. I'd like to listen to that with you, like a few of the tracks, just see the vibe, because he's not Mexican. He's indigenous. We all indigenous out here, but he has um, it's not really verses, but yeah, like I guess the hook or the chorus or whatever, just intros, he has it in there. I think there's a few songs. So, I mean, if Kendrick could do it, you could do it. Just have your mom on there just singing some sweet little melodies, Be so nice. I love how it sounds. That's why I'm saying. I'm like, oh, that's so beautiful.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah,
love
and
that.
you know what? See, I got into the habit of like I have to. I think mostly like even Kendrick. I think the first time I listened to Kendrick was because someone was like, "Oh, I should check out this song," right? Like maybe my nephew or something like that.
Mhm.
But like the more music I made because of that, right? Like with music, it's like, and that happened early on, right? Like when someone, oh, well, you sound like this person or you sound like that person. So you try to listen to as little as possible when you're active with it, right? When you're actively
You
writing, you don't want to be influenced.
don't want to be influenced.
Yeah,
Yes.
or you used something that sounds similar to them because sometimes it's subconscious, right? I was listening to one of their songs and some of their lyrics, and then it's like, oh, you're biting the lyrics or you're biting. So like on purpose, like I definitely don't listen to a lot of people when I'm,
In that.
in the creative flow. Yeah. But yeah, yeah. But I'll listen to it though.
But
Whenever someone tells me to listen,
you did it before he did it.
yeah, probably. I mean, probably, yeah. Yeah.
Well, your mom was on your song, so you already did it. You
Oh,
already
okay.
you already
Oh, he
did it.
did us. He did like that kind of like,
Yeah, he's rapping, and then I wish I knew the words to tell you. I can't. I wish if I knew how to sing in Spanish, I would do it. I should learn. You should teach me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I
Yeah.
was looking up where you're from, like, cause I didn't even know I thought it was like an island by Canada or something like that. So I
Oh,
was
hell
like,
no.
yeah, yeah. So there
Listen,
was no one spoke Spanish there. Like it's close
you
to it.
Yeah, it's more French, in
Oh,
our language. Well, I mean, the natives to St. Lucia, then obviously not, but we had a whole battle between the British and the French, it was like 14 times British, 14 times French, just fighting over our island. And that's after, like, they killed off the natives pretty much, or like shipped them off here and there, whatever.
you
And
know
then
what?
we ended up having French and English as the languages that, we had to,
Oh,
yeah.
so you know French then? You speak French?
Yeah, Creole.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's a dialect, right, of French, or yeah. But we still there are some people who still have knowledge of the languages that would have been there before. It was way back, like Amerindians, and you have the Caribs, or the Kalinago is the proper word for them. I think now it's close to Taino. you know?
Mm.
Yeah, so that's actually the people who inhabited the islands before. Yeah.
Mm. And you
So
know, because when I saw the word, I was like, oh, Saint Lucia, but well, that's how you pronounce it, Lucia. But
that's
Lucia is
repeat.
Lucia,
Yeah.
Lucia, and
Yeah.
it's funny because the fourth book
Hmm.
I put together with the pictures was because that was my godmother, Lucia, and she
Mm.
came to me, and it was because of her, like like yeah, she guided me to all this
I
stuff,
love
right? And
that.
it's funny because it means light, right, Lucia, light,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so I never realized that. I mean, I was like, oh wow, so she was important too, like yeah,
Yeah,
in what
I
now?
always like that. I always say, you know what? Because all of my names, I have like Yandia means daughter of the rising sun, and then my other two middle names, everything has to do with light, you
Oh,
know. And so, and then when I found out, because I had to go through this whole thing, part of my spiritual awakening was like finding out about my ancestors, and you know, spirit was like, it's not by chance that you were born on this island, and I was
mm,
what is it? And I started researching and I found out the same thing, right? Like the Lucia or the saint, right? Lucia and her, the whole story about her and also with light. So I was like, okay, there's a whole bunch of light happening around here. I think I get the message, you know? So I'm a follow
absolutely.
that path of light.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because that's how she just spoke to me, right? She was like, to go visit her. Like she's at some like it's messed up because during the pandemic, I was bored, so I was going to all these like celebrity grave sites, right? And like you know who Eazy is, right?
Yep, yep.
Yeah. So she's buried at the same cemetery with Eazy. So I
Okay.
went to visit like Easy Cemetery. I didn't even go visit my godmother, right? That she had. I hadn't gone since, they buried her like in the late 90s, right? So she spoke to me to go, and I just knew like to go see her. And there was all these graves. Hers was the only one that was completely covered, except for just the name Lucia and her whole last name. Everything was like the dirt had gone all over it, and everybody else's grave was perfect, just hers. So I was like, what the hell? So I started digging it out, and then there's all these ants, like thousands and thousands of ants just on her grave. So
Wow.
I'm digging it out. The ants are biting me, everything. I'm like, oh man, So then I tell the people to I cleaned it off the best I could, but then I told the people at the cemetery, hey, you need to clean, and then they did, right? But then it was crazy because it was like that, like uncovering something, right? And Lucia, right, bringing light. And
Exactly.
after that, within like I don't know, maybe a month, my dad hands me that a bag of all those old pictures, right, from the night, and so she's in there with like pictures of her when she's like 15 years old, or her quinceañera. You know what quinceañeras are, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So there's pictures, and I'm like, what? This is crazy. And then all like, I woke up once, like everybody knows you're spiritual, so I could talk about this. I
Yes.
woke up one day and I'm completely surrounded by spirits everywhere. So this was right before I was handed that bag. So after, when I was handed that bag, all these people and these old photographs were the
Mhm.
people that were around my bed, including like
Yep.
my godmother, right? Like so they were
Yeah.
all visiting me. I guess they wanted, see, even with that, they want to be remembered, or they want their story told. And
Yeah.
then so I put this book together of all these, and then that's it. Like I guess I haven't seen it again, but it was off with
You
that.
did the
With
work. You did the work.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
that simple. Sometimes it's that simple. Like someone will, you can deny it. You can be like, nah, I don't want to do it. But like I was like, all right, fine, I'll do it.
Yeah. But
So
that's your blood, right? They're in your blood.
yeah,
They're in
yeah.
your blood. And it's like that's a whole, I feel like we need to do like a part two.
Yeah,
I feel,
when
you know what? It's a teaser because then now people are like, wait a minute, what? What do they start to talk about now? And it's like,
um
come back for part two.
yeah,
You thought it was just music.
yeah. No, no,
You
there's so much. Yeah, I would love to talk about all that. Like, yeah,
There's so it's the same thing. I literally experienced the same thing on your podcast. It was like
yeah.
talking about something that's like, oh, there's a whole other section that we could go with this. But you know, this is just to show you like literally love story, right?
Mm,
This is just like intro. This is like the dedication, the first page of your story, you know, and there's so much more. And this is what it is for all of us. I love how you explained about, you know, that you're just here like recording the life experience and you're putting it down. That is so important. Maybe one day we'll talk about how important that is on a on the wider, bigger scale, you know. Those
Well,
of us are recorders, you know, some of us specifically, our purpose is to record, you know, and yeah, it's
well,
a big
well, let me just say this last thing. Well, think about even the Bible. What is that? It's a bunch of short stories. That's all it is.
exactly,
So,
exactly,
like,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. So even the book that I put together of my song lyrics, I called it my book of Psalms, like Psalms, like the Bible Psalms.
The
Yeah,
Bible, yes, yes,
because I know that's what they are, right? It's like
that's right.
my book of Psalms, right?
Yes,
Like this has been my 1,000 songs or my 1,000 psalms, right? Like they're my
exactly.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
have I have the same thing. I have a book. It wasn't one of the ones I'm talking about, but um it's the same thing. It's my poetry and then going alongside with my paintings, you know.
Mm.
So there definitely is. I hope anybody watching this can feel encouraged. Do not judge yourself. Well, my poetry isn't good enough, my songs aren't good enough, my this, that. It doesn't matter. It's you, it's from your perspective. Nobody can create what you when you really don't try to create like anybody else. When you just create, write your book, write your song, do your dance, whatever it is that you're gonna do, just do it because no one else can do it like you. And there's gonna be people who would only, you know, vibrate, resonate with how you put it together, you know. So I just hope anybody watching learn from Omar. Omar says, I pretend like every day is my last day because who knows, right? So put that out there. And bro, trust me, I was planning to put out like 3 books by spring for sure, 2 by my birthday for sure. But man, you set me on fire. Who knows? Put a whole library at this rate. You know what I mean? Because it's true, you know, and I'm looking at it like, yeah, and they accomplished this thing before that anniversary of your near-death experience, but why wait? Why wait all that time? You know, every day we die and we rise every single day. You close your eyes. Some people close their eyes and they never open them again. We're taking this thing for granted. You know what I mean? Let me speak for myself. I'm taking this thing for granted. So I am gonna do better. Brother, hold me accountable.
Okay.
Hold me accountable. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely have to do that. Now, this is nearing the end. I'm gonna double check to just make sure that I'm not forgetting or leaving anybody out. Okay, we have some comments. That's so beautiful, powerful. Someone says, yes, please, but I don't. Oh, I think they wanted you to share your song, but you are going to send me the links because I'm going to place the links at the bottom. And yeah, thank you. I love everything that I received from our chat today. Um, do you have any closing words?
I mean, the first thing, well, originally, right, because the love story, like I know it is all in love, right? I don't think I would have done what I did without love, right? It is an unconditional love. There's a love I have. I understand what it is to be human, right? I understand this experience. And you know, I may at times be like, yeah, you know, who in this human body, right? Nobody likes to get done wrong or this and that, right? But for the most part, I think just as you get older. But when I was young, I forgave everything. I didn't care. It's like I got you, okay, you know, like you
Mhm.
know stuff like that. I've experienced it all, seen it all, and so I think yeah, we all know love is the same. Love is the most powerful thing there is, right? I'll just say that. I know we won't get into the whole spiritual thing on this and that, but on this one. But yeah, love is everything, right? Love really has no bounds because it is like a vibration, right? It connects you. So love yourself also enough to do what, don't be afraid of nothing, right? Just like, just do what you were put here to do. Don't be afraid. Somebody's rooting for you. I'm rooting for you, right? So make sure you do. Yeah. Yeah.
You got two people right here
Yeah.
rooting for you.
Yeah. No matter what, just do it. Yeah, yeah, do it. And yeah, nothing. Yeah, I don't know, cause I could go on forever, but it's like, yeah, nothing's. You're really the only one standing in your way, so just do it, right? If you already know what you're supposed to do, just do it. So I won't. I guess I can't really end it all in a lovey-dovey kind of way, so I'll just end it more in a tough love way, right? Like, just do it, right? So that's my thing. Don't stop making
Love it.
excuses. Do what you got to do, right? And that's it. That's yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes, sometimes we need the tough love. We need the tough love. It's not about the lovey-dovey, you know. And thank you for sharing your love story. Like I said, I am 100% open to having you come back on and, we'll tackle the spiritual more, because this has all been spiritual, all been spiritual, all been love, but we could tackle some more questions, maybe from people who would see this one and maybe want to, ask you some things that maybe we got into, but not fully into. So you just let me know if you want to come back on. We can definitely do a part two. I am up for it.
No, no, it'd be an honor. And it was an honor being here today. And yeah, just let me know when, and we'll do it. Absolutely.
Okay. I love that. I love that. So, brother, thank you.
Thank you.
And to anybody who is watching, if you want to share anything about love, share your love story, how love has brought you out of darkness into the light, how love has kept you going, please get in touch with me. You could email me at lovestoryforyandea@gmail.com, right? I'll put the link below and also all of Omar's stuff below. Please check the description, connect with him, check out his music. Let him know if you love it. Let him know if you really love it. That's it. That's the only two options. Love it or really love it. That's it. Okay. So thank you again, everyone. Have a great week and we'll see you next Sunday for another love story. Bye-bye.